So this is going to be my final video for Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. I've uninstalled the game. I'm completely done with it because fundamentally at its core this has been a disaster through and through from the very get-go, even before the advanced access release of the game. And I also want to make it very clear that people are going to have different opinions. Everything I'm going to say in this video is based on my experience with the game. Some people are going to feel different about it. That's absolutely fine. And jumping into it, the server issues are still persisting for a lot of players, and they have done for 2 days during the advanced access. And no, this is not early access. This is it's very, very specifically been stated that this is advanced access, not early access, meaning that they are giving you the full 1.0 build of the game, the full final release version of the game. You are paying extra money to play that early. So it's not early access as in it's a 0.98. This is a version 1. This is a launch version of the game. This is the version they plan to release on the official release date. And what I did for one of my previous videos was I read through all of the known issues, which included the AI ramming into you at the start of a race, and they specified that it was happening in one race. However, with me playing the game, the AI does it in a lot more than one race. So that's another thing that needs to be fixed, which is going to take a long time, especially because a lot of the developers and stuff are on strike. They decided to go for a strike and whatever, a couple of days before the game launched into advanced access. So yeah, they might be able to fix the servers and get some of the bugs squashed and things like that, but they're not going to be able to work on it properly because there's not the entire team available, as a lot of them are refusing to work. And not only that, the publishers have a very bad track record of doing things like this with the games they release. And the game overall, I don't care if it's not supposed to be a simulator racer or whatever, even if the intentions of the game are for it to be an arcade racer, it feels really arcadey. The levels of how much of an arcade racer it feels are way beyond what any arcade racer should actually be. But I don't mean that in terms of not being able to use force feedback on your steering wheel as an example, or something like that. I mean, the whole graphical setting of the game, the handling of the cars, everything just feels really, really bad. This could have been a PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 release. The way they have designed this game is awful. It feels far too arcadey. It doesn't look anywhere near as good as it should do, especially the interior for cars and buildings is nowhere near as good as it should be. When you're creating an interior for buildings and when you're changing up the colours of the leather inside the car and stuff, you need to pay attention to those little details. Especially when people are going to be driving in cockpit view, they're going to see that stuff a lot of the time. So it needs to be a focus point when you're developing the game, and they haven't focused on it whatsoever. And from the very beginning of the game, this is just a grind. Your first main task in the game is to go and reach reputation level 5, and then once you've done that, your next task is, surprise, surprise, go and reach level 12, just doing some races. And then after you reach level 12, you unlock the clans, that's it. You're dealing with the clans from then on out, so you're stuck with secondary tasks only. And that's at least for a while, because I played for a little bit after unlocking the clans. And there are time attacks and circuit races, at least for the first few hours. You don't get anything different. There's no drifting, there's no drag races or anything like that. And before people go and say, well, that's not how Test Drive Unlimited games work, this isn't a Test Drive Unlimited game. This is really far from what TDU is. And yeah, they might eventually add things in, they've basically given us a year 1 roadmap already. Before the game even released, they were oh, this is what we're going to work on in the first year. Because yeah, it's a live service. They've probably already got most of that stuff fully developed. So yeah, they might eventually add things in that make it feel more like a TDU game, but until then, you're playing the shell of a TDU game. And it's not going to provide you with anything close to Test Drive Unlimited, full-blown experience, unless you're giving them extra money for the season passes. And all of the stuff they have announced for in the future throughout year 1 should have been in the base game, but they chose to go live service to take bits out of the game and sell them to you at a later date. That's how a lot of companies make their money nowadays. They sell you 80% of the game for full price, and then throughout the first year, they sell you the extra 20% that should have been in the base game. And you can tell that the game is designed to try and keep you playing when the first few races occasionally put you against intermediate AI. It does get worse than that. But literally the first few races, intermediate AI with cars that are a 100 performance rating above yours, with no way for you to upgrade yours because you're locked out of the parts by level. And what that means is that no matter how skilled you are, you will not beat the AI in those races. Because on top of them driving cars that are like 100 performance rating above you, they are also very, very aggressive in this game. And it almost feels like they're cheating with their acceleration and top speed a lot of the time. But not only that, when you lose, you're going to have to grind in order to reach the right level for better upgrades on your cars. And all you do after that is you go back to the race and you win it if you're lucky enough, because it kind of actually feels as though there's skill-based matchmaking in this game against the AI. And the reason I feel like that is because if you race well, they go and increase the difficulty of the AI. So you'd go from like intermediate to experienced, then expert, or whichever order it goes. Basically, if you race well and you win, they would increase the difficulty, and then when you race average to poor, they will lower the difficulty. There is absolutely no way in the game to set the difficulty of the AI yourself, so it feels as though they have set up AI skill-based matchmaking, which is absolutely pathetic for a racing game to work like that. And there is also absolutely no reason for the game to be online only, as not only can you pause the game in free roam, like you can completely pause it, all you have to do is either like actually pause it, or even opening your map will completely stop your car where it is, and then your car continues when you unpause. So say you're driving 100 miles an hour, you pause, when you come out of it you'll be in exactly the same spot and you'll start going 100 miles an hour again. But not only that, as well as being able to fully pause the game, you can also start races with all AI drivers. And that often happens if you start instantly instead of waiting for other players to join. They do try forcing online lobbies, but a lot of the time, especially if you're quick to start that race, you will start on your own against AI drivers. And the thing on top of that is races can kick you out anytime they want to. Just whenever the servers feel like jumping off a cliff, they will. You'll get like server timed out or disconnected, or like whatever it says, you will get an error pop up and it will kick you out of the race, even if you're like 95% of the way through. If the servers feel like kicking you out, they will. But as well as having awful server problems, having the game online only also makes it easy for them to do a Ubisoft like what they did with The Crew. And at some point in the future, they can just take the servers offline without any care in the world. And they will probably do that if they feel that not enough people play anymore, because servers do cost money to run. And if people aren't playing the game, then they might as well just close them down. And they've already pushed thousands and thousands of people away from the game with the launch and how poor it's been for advanced access. But not only that, the demo and even the gameplay showcases before the Advanced Access launch was enough to push people away, because the game looked really shit before it even came out. And that was mainly due to the fact that they've pretty much stripped it down and taken everything Test Drive Unlimited out of it. You might as well call this generic racing game. And to add to that even further, the driving line in this game is absolutely fucking awful. I have mine set to corners only, but regardless of how it's set up, whether you've got it full racing line or like driving line, whatever, whether you've got it full or corners only, every single corner you have to brake early, or you are going to miss your corner and smash into a wall of some sort. The entire driving line feature needs to be like completely overhauled, and the braking line on every corner needs to be brought back a good 10 to 20 yards. If you try and stick to your driving line and you brake when the game tells you to, you will smash into a wall. And going back to the AI, the experienced difficulty AI have absolutely no trouble beating me, because, like most of the time, because of their performance rating being so high. And then with the AI behaviour completely changing, because I've had it where the difficulty level for the AI is the same, but their behaviour completely changes. I've had it to the point where I did the same race 3 times. I came in second place, then first. But in the race where I finished in first, I only got that position because the AI decided to take a break and grab a coffee or something. They pretty much just stopped racing. I won that last race by 6 seconds, whereas the first 2 attempts on the same difficulty, I lost by a good 5 seconds or so. So there's a lot of inconsistencies when it comes to the difficulty of the AI. Sometimes they'll race really aggressive, and then every now and then they will just sit back and pretty much not race at all. Like, you'll win by a very, very big margin. But on top of that, there are races in the game that are completely broken. The one that I experienced was I couldn't start it at all because the prompt where it pops up, it gives you a description, tells you which cars are eligible and so on and so forth. The one where you hold down the button to actually start the race, that was just like glitching in and out of existence basically. And not only that, looking at that race on the map, it's got some sort of like generic placeholder name. So that race, I don't even think is fully designed. You can't start it, doesn't have a proper name or anything like that, so I don't think the race is supposed to be in the game at all. And then, one of the really bad things with the game as well is the physics in this game are awful, because it feels like there's basically 1,000,000 kilograms worth of impact when you clip, like tiny bit, when you just clip a lamppost. Your car's going to lose like 5 miles an hour speed. It's going to be really, really bad. There is so much impact when you hit the smallest of things. But when there's car contact, and I mean like full blown, you could have a car on its side, you could smash into it. It's like you glide off each other. It's like you're trading paint. And as I said, the AI, it feels as though they've got like cheating levels of acceleration and top speed, and they are almost always in more powerful cars than you, and it creates what I think is... I feel as though it's some sort of like artificial difficulty they've created for the game. They've basically wanted to cut corners with the development of the AI, so they've created this difficulty, and that's basically how we've got Solar Crown. But then all of what we've just mentioned completely changes when you reach level 12. And that's because you unlock something called clans. There are 2 clans in the game. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the clans as well, because if you pick one clan, you're not allowed to go to the other clan at all unless you delete your profile and start a fresh game all over again. There's no like dipping in and out of the clans in the game at all. You are locked to one when you choose it. But when you join a clan and you start doing races for them, the difficulty comes off the AI entirely. They just have their names. But on top of that, they start actually acting a lot more how AI should act in racing games. But then you've also got clan races that have added traffic into them as well, which makes no sense because it's not there for normal races, but it is for clan races. Like, why would you add traffic to a clan race and not a normal race? And then also, like, once you do reach level 12, you unlock clans, you don't get primary tasks anymore. Like, you literally reach level 12 and then the game's like, nah, fuck it. You can just stick to secondary tasks from now. And that happens at least for a while. I don't know if that's the whole way through the game or whatever. As I said, I only played a little bit before giving up with it after I unlocked the clans. But what you have to do is basically, like, once you join the clan, you just keep racing, doing race after race. You level up that clan, and you get a really cool rewards from leveling up your clan, like a fucking sticker. You go and win a race, you get 4,500 XP, as 6,000 XP for the first level up. So you do 2 races, you level up your clan, and you get a sticker for your car, because that's what everybody wants. No credit bonus, there's no bonus at all. Your reward is a sticker. So to wrap things up, I don't know what they were going for with this game, but they've got everything in this game wrong. I think the only positive I have is the fact that there are racing-capable cars in the game, there are interiors to the buildings, and that's pretty much it. As I said, this could have just been called generic racing game. This is the shell of a TDU game. If you're looking for a Test Drive Unlimited experience, go play the others. Find a way to get access to them and go play them, because this is not a test drive game. As I've said, there is no need for it to be online only, especially when you can pause the free roam lobbies. There's no idle timer either. So I don't think the free roam lobbies are actually online. I think it's just the racing portion of the game that is classed as online. So they could add an offline mode to the online races, because on top of that, you can have every one of your opponents be AI. So you can play it single player. You could play offline. And as well as that, the servers were complete shit, and they're still not the best after 2 days. And I'm going to say that this game will not be performing well in terms of player numbers and stuff, even by Season 2. So further development of the game will probably come to an end very quickly. You might see the full Year 1 stuff release, and then Year 2, they will more than likely half-arse it if they do anything with it at all. I mean, there's always the chance that they'll even quit before they finish up Year 1 because of how bad this game's going to go. They've pushed so many people away just by having the awful servers that won't let people connect, and having Gold Edition that people have paid extra money for, and people being unable to even download the game for like the first 18 hours or whatever it was. So I am entirely, completely, fully done with Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. You won't see any more videos from this game on this channel at all, because I'm sick and fucking tired of companies doing this stuff. I'm very glad I never bought the game through Steam. I picked it up through CD Keys. I saved myself a lot of money by doing that, and I'm so glad, because if I had paid 70 quid for this, I would have been fuming. But yeah, the game's been uninstalled. I guess I'm just going to have to wait for the next racing game to release. So that is me done with TDU Solar Crown, and also we're going to leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about this shambles of a release in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.